Earlier this week, Arch Manning, five-star quarterback, chose Texas over Georgia. Big loss to Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. There's no doubt about that, but it's not the end of the world. I expect Georgia to still bring in a ton of quality talent on the offensive side of the football, and that's what this video is all about. I'll be breaking down who Georgia is after on offense, where the Bulldogs stand with each of them, and what their class could possibly look like come December in the early signing day period. So I do want to start with quarterback. I don't think Georgia is going to sign a quarterback in this 2023 class. It's not like the past where you absolutely have to sign a quarterback each and every year. It's ideal. You want to sign a quarterback every class, and Georgia's been on that track the past few years. Even in the Mark Richt times, some years they would take two quarterbacks. You never, really think about that anymore, especially with the transfer portal, but it's not the end of the world if they don't take a quarterback in this class. They went after Arch Manning for a reason. They missed. And I think now their focus is going to be for, getting one of the very best in the 2024 class. And I think they're going to do that. There's a video I'm going to do on that later. But there's a few guys of the very best across the country, 24, interested in Georgia. And I think Georgia is absolutely going to land one of those guys. But as far as Georgia signing a quarterback in the 23 class, I just don't see it happening. So moving right along at running back, Justice Haynes, a guy I've talked about for a long, long time now, in-state running back, the best running back in Georgia the past 2 years. From Blessed Trinity, played there. He'll play at Buford, powerhouse #1 program in the state, in my opinion, going into this season. This fall, I think Georgia is the leader for him. I would be a little surprised if he did not sign with Georgia when the time comes. I think Alabama is still in the running. I think Notre Dame is still in the running. He took a visit to Florida. I think Ohio State is halfway pushing for him still. But at the end of the day, Georgia legacy, this is a guy that they do not want to miss out on. And I think Georgia will, when the time comes, sign high 4-star running back Justice Haynes out of now Buford High School. So that's going to be their running back. Are they going to take two? I think they're going to try. But I don't think it's the end of the world if they just take Justice Haynes. Now, in other years, I would say that's crazy. You need to take two running backs each and every class, but they've done that pretty consistently, recently. So I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world if they did not take a second running back. And he's told me personally, hey, if I want to jump on board, I'm going to be the only running back they take. When he told me that in person, I kind of shrugged it off. I said, yeah, okay, they need to take two, but maybe it's not. He's a really good running back, and there are plenty in the 24 class that they're after also. So I think it would be okay if Justice Haynes were the only running back that Georgia took in this class, and I think they're the clear leader for him right now. Richard Young is a 5-star, maybe the best running back in the country in my eyes, who did take a recent official visit to Georgia. I still think Alabama and Ohio State are ahead of Georgia right now from sources I've spoken to. So that's where things look at running back. At tight end, they've got there too. Todd Hartley goes out, gets his guys, gets them early. Pierce Sperlin, one of the best pass-catching tight ends in the country. Georgia fans are going to love this guy. He's another Brock Bowers, Oscar Delp type. He's going to help a lot in the passing game. And Lawson Lucky, a guy who I think is going to catch a lot more passes this year at Norcross than he did last year. Big, physical, tough, but he's got soft hands as well. Both of these guys can catch passes. Both are committed. I think Lawson Lucky is still taking visits. I don't think he's going to open up his recruitment down the road, but I'm not 100% sold on that just yet. I would call him a 95% commitment at this time. So two really good ones already on board. They're done at tight end for the 2023 class. So wide receiver, Raymond Cottrell, 4-star wide receiver, they already have on board. And there's a few others that have been on campus for official visits recently that I think Georgia's in a good spot for. Hakeem Williams, one of the very best in the country, a borderline 5-star down in Florida. I think that's a Georgia-Texas A&M battle. I can definitely see Georgia landing this kid. He's the real deal. Speed, toughness. He's got great hands, playmaking ability. He's one of the best receivers in the country. And I think Georgia really impressed him on his recent official visit a couple weekends ago. Definitely a guy to keep an eye on. Tyler Williams is a guy who I wrote about on Dog Post. Make sure you go check out that story. He was in town for an official visit a couple weekends ago as well, I believe. So many were in town. It's hard to get the guys and the weekends straight when I'm trying to think off the top of my head. But I think Georgia leads for him. He's a Lakeland kid. That's usually a pipeline to Florida, but I think this could come down to Georgia and Clemson. He's coming off a recent official visit to South Carolina, but I think Georgia leads for the 6'3". I think he's around 200 pounds, probably 190, but dude is excellent after the catch. He's got, can get past defenders down the field. Great hands. Didn't exactly light up the stat sheet last year, but he made every catch matter. I think he went for like 20 yards every time he touched the ball. I expect him to catch a lot more passes as a senior. I think he could be either the 1 or 2 guy on Brian McClendon's board. Right now, I think Georgia leads for him. I think he's ranked as a mid 4-star right now. I think his ranking is going to climb over time in that 23 class. Anthony Evans, track star out of Texas. I think he's still narrowing things down. He's got like a top 10 that he just recently came out with. I think if he came out with a top 3 or top 2, that Georgia would be in the mix. Dude can run. He is blazing fast. And he told me, and it's in a story on DAWGSTRUCTION, you can read it, that the staff told him that we don't have anyone like you, which I think Arian Smith is, similar to him, but he's a track star. He's a speed demon, and they want to bring in, obviously, more size and speed in each class. They're recruiting guys with plenty of size. Anthony Evans is a guy with plenty of speed, and I think a guy who, if he has the green light to commit to Georgia, if he has a spot in this class, I really like Georgia's chances with him. Jalen Hale, again, one of the top receivers in the country. Those are the only guys Georgia's going after, right? If you're the best of the best, that's who they're targeting. I mean, they're a championship program now. The standard is an all-time high. The expectations are at an all-time high. So if they are recruiting a guy who's ranked as a 3-star by these outlets who may be higher on Georgia's board than people, like myself think, he's got a special quality about him. Either he's crazy big or long, or he's crazy fast like Anthony Evans, who is a little lower ranked than a lot of guys that I'm talking about right now. But Jalen Hale is one of the best in the country out of Texas. I think that could be Georgia, Oklahoma, maybe Georgia, Texas A&M. He doesn't talk a ton about his recruitment, but I heard that Georgia blew him and his family away on their official visit that first weekend of June. He's like 6'4". The dude has SEC size. Quicker than you would imagine, faster than you would think for a guy his size, and can come down with the ball great in jump ball situations. So when Kirby hired Brian McClendon, he knew that he was getting an ace recruiter, and I think Georgia is going to end up with an excellent wide receiver class. Offensive line, a little different. This might not be the average offensive line class that Georgia fans are accustomed to seeing, with guys like Matt Luke and Sam Pittman, recruiting these guys for the last several years. Stacey Searles has his guys in mind, but I don't think it's going to be this jaw-dropping offensive line class. And a lot of that is because there's just not a ton of elite guys out there that Georgia is really in the mix for. There's no Andrew Thomas, Jamari Sawyer, Amarius Mims types, especially in state that Georgia's after. But they've got 2 on board already. Ryquise McElderry, who's taken visits, to other schools. A lot of them, actually. I would not call him 100% committed to Georgia right now. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see him open things up. He's an interior guy. They have 4-star Bo Hewley committed at tackle. I think he still has plenty of development to do. So he's not a guy that I think Georgia fans are going to see early on when he gets to Athens. Samson Okunlola. I'm sure I butchered that. I don't mean to, but he's a 5-star offensive tackle who was at Georgia last week. He was in Athens. I think Georgia has a real shot at this guy. So if there's one 5-star offensive lineman that I think Georgia fans would be really excited about, it is Samson Okunlola, 6'5", 300-pound tackle. Has a lot of length to him, lean frame as well. It seems like he could put on some more weight, but he's a 5-star for a reason, and he's a guy, I think, from Maryland. I believe I should have checked that before making this video. But he's an out-of-state guy that I think Georgia fans don't really know a ton about, but I think Georgia has a real shot at down the road. Monroe Freeling, #1 offensive tackle prospect, #1 player overall in South Carolina, took a visit to Georgia a few weekends ago. I spoke with his mom. They love Georgia. I think Georgia is a team possibly trending for him. He's going to go out of state. He's not going to South Carolina or Clemson. I think Alabama's in the mix. Miami's in the mix. Georgia's obviously in the mix. And I think Georgia's probably in a better position for him than most think. He's about 6'5", about 280, a long, lean frame with, again, the potential to add more weight, more mass, more muscle. He is a top 100 player in the country, and I like where Georgia sits with him. Not saying they lead or anything, but I think they're in a better spot than people think. TJ Shanahan, nasty interior lineman from Texas, probably one of my favorite offensive line prospects that is on Georgia's board. He was in town for an official visit in early June. He's still taking visits. I think he has one lined up to Oregon. He was at Texas A&M recently. I think he was at LSU recently. So he's still very open, but I think Georgia is in an excellent spot for him out of Austin, Texas. Westlake High School, definitely a guy to know And then Kelton Smith is an in-state guy that I think Georgia is trending for. He's another guy who I think has some development to do, but they must like him. I think he blew the Georgia staff away with a camp performance recently. If he has the green light to commit, I think Georgia could land him in the next couple of weeks. And I think Kelton Smith out of Carver High School in Columbus could very well be Georgia's next commitment. Interior guy, might be able to play outside at tackle if Georgia need him to, but I think he's a guard at the next level. And a guy who is a low 4-star kid. But I mean, he's not going to blow you away if you watch the film. I guess, you know, he's got some toughness and some link to him. He's got some potential. Not a guy who I see playing early on if he does end up committing to Georgia. Right now, I think they are the team to beat. So just a few guys on offense. Wanted to keep y'all posted on how things look. So it's not the end of the world that Arch Manning did not commit to Georgia. They're going to get their quarterback in that 24 class. And if they really need someone, there's always the transfer portal. But big day for Brock Vandagriff and Gunnar Stockton yesterday. If you're watching this, it was a few days ago. Georgia's going to be just fine at quarterback, and I do think that they're going to bring in plenty of talent on the offensive side of the ball in the 2023 class. Guys, thanks for watching this video. As always, stay tuned to the next one coming up right now, and I'll see you over on Dog Post.